Folks, welcome to A Lawless Time. While we are still quite away from the official release of A Lawless Time, we are slowly getting those slow releases of the cards for the 7th set. And it feels kind of strange to really feel like we're getting drip-fed cards for the 7th set of Star Wars Unlimited when it's only, I'm recording this on the 15th of January, and we won't officially get this set until the beginning of March. So, yeah, it's very interesting we're getting drip fed. I would have thought we would have gotten more drip feed in February than in January, but I guess because the fact of the matter is they got to drip feed us everything for the set by the time the first March comes around. So that first official week of March, I think the 5th. Let me check. I know I have a locals that is doing it on the... Okay, so yes, we'll get this on March 6th because I actually have a locals that is doing a pre-release on the 7th of March. That is Bulldog Community Gaming LLC is doing their pre-release on the 7th of March. So it's going to be quite interesting on that. So I thought we were going to get more drip feeds in, February, maybe late January, we get more drip feed, but yeah, we've gotten some more cards to come out of the set. So originally, when we were discussing the thoughts of Lawless Time, we got all of these cards, cards from the starter decks, the first legendary of Hondo Anaka, cards we kind of already knew were coming, and then with credits. And then they slowly showed us off some more cards from the starter decks, then more of the specialty rare cards, and then they slowly drip fed us more cards, and we've been drip fed 2 leaders from the set as well. So I thought, you know what, let's go through the cards we've been drip fed so far and give our thoughts, because again, all these cards are going to come into a very important time, because if you're a Premier player, you are going to lose Spartan Rebellion, Shadows of the Galaxy, and Twilight of the Republic. But that's only if you want to ever play Premier, then you're restricted to Jump to Light Speed, Legends of the Force, Secrets of Power, and A Lawless Time. But again, then we have the Eternal format, which is legal for everything. And again, I don't know they're going to do a ban list for Eternal. I think some things right now in Eternal probably can come off and see how well they do, or maybe they just throw everything off and then see where the meta goes and then re-ban stuff that clearly is broken. Because I don't think Jango Fett, in my opinion, can come off the ban list anytime soon in Eternal, just because he's still very strong in Eternal. I do think maybe the Boba can come back. I think he's probably been power crept out by now, because as we've seen so many decks do really, really good and all that. But nonetheless, enough talking about rotations and metas and rotations and Eternal formats. We came to talk about cards. So anyways, we got a new Lando Calrissian specialty rare that will come in the Leia starter deck that has Sentinel for 5. While this unit is defending, the attack gets -1. Pretty nice. A good card to also kind of throw on there would be that diplomatic immunity to show double vigilance, double heroic, and then you can give -2/-2 to the attacker. So that's a pretty cool thing. A great way to kind of survive attacks and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. Then we have Malunki. Each friendly creature unit and each creature you own that isn't in play gains the Underworld tag. Again, we saw that they joked about it when they released the Jabba the Hutt action. When you play an Underworld unit from your hand, if you defeat your credit token to play it, you can give an ambush. How exactly do we give, say, the Sarlacc pit the Underworld tag? We can give it from Malinki, 𝐒𝐬𝐃, this guy right here. We can then give it to the Sarlacc pit, because as long as he's up on the board, all creatures in hand and in deck gain the Underworld trait, which means that if you destroy a credit token to play the Sarlacc pit, then we can give it ambush, which then triggers its on attack skill, which is pretty nice. So we just now have an idea of what they were kind of pointing out in that description about what they were doing, that big joke about could you get the Sarlacc pit Underworld and then give an ambush. Here you go. That's the way to do it. So those are a couple of specialty rares. You're guaranteed these in the starter decks. 3 copies of these in each one of these starter decks. And then we have Cassian Andor with Rebel 4, which with Cunning, Aggression, and Heroic. Gotta remember now that we have these multicolored cards, which again, I really like. I think it's gonna just shake up the entirety of the game with now multicolor. I think it's gonna make deck building so interesting. Okay, when a friendly unit attacks ends if the defending unit was defeated, deal 2 damage to base. folks, this is just going to tell us this is a good card for Luthen to play out. Luthen already wants you to sacrifice your units so that you can then tap Luthen to ping a damage onto your opponent's base or a unit, or trigger Luthen on his backside to do 2 damage to your opponent's base. So we're kind of seeing more of those cards where more support for Luthen, and it kind of does push Luthen into that green area right now where we kind of want to be. Luthen, I think, typically was playing around green. That's where I was playing it as well. But nonetheless, it's a pretty good card. It's definitely pushing Luthen to be in green, green 100%. So you could push it out of Luthen out of green, but again, it's a little dangerous because then you'll have to pay the aspect penalty of an extra 2 to play it out for 6. So something to keep in mind because this is a pretty good card here, without a doubt. It's also good for the Leia from Spark Rebellion and Eternal as well, because again, it has the Rebel tag, which means that if you really playing a lot of Rebels, then you can do like Nimix, Manifesto, and stuff like that to do damages. Not mentioning that because the Leia layer can swing double, you could sacrifice 1 unit and then do 2 damage to your finish base and then swing the second unit into the base. Just something to keep it think about for the Eternal format as well. Then we have Dengar, 3 for 3 for command aggression ability. When a unit with the highest cost among enemy units defeated, create a credit token, use the ability once per round. Just a great way to kind of filter and make vast amounts of credit tokens in a nice way. So basically, if you need to produce a lot of credit tokens, again, credit tokens are when you destroy it to reduce the cost of one of your units by 1. Its main cost by 1, you still have to then pay the aspect penalty or the aspects as well. So if you want to, you can actually use credit tokens to help with those aspect penalties as well. But still, a pretty good card for villainy, just kind of helping you accumulate credit tokens so that you can burn credit tokens to play guys out a little faster. Then we got Chopper. It does feel bad that we have a couple new Spectres in here, but unfortunately the leader that can have them ignore the aspect penalty is going to go to the Legacy format or the Eternal format, but still not bad. I mean, you can now play all of them Eternal and get even more Spectres in that deck. Chopper with Cunning, Aggression, and Heroic, 1/2 with Raid 1, which is pretty nice, so it swings for 2. And then when played, give an experience token to this unit. If you control a Cunning or Vigilance unit, give 2 experience tokens to this instead. We're kind of seeing that some of the Spectres we'll see, like the Ezra that's above, that they kind of actually, and I think we saw with the Zeb, the Spectres right now, for what they're coming out with, feel like if you play them and then you have another card of this color, you can then get some nice effects. So it's really interesting how Spectres are kind of like, play this, and then if you have this out, do this, which is pretty cool. I think it's going to be really cool for Eternal because of the Hera being able to ignore the aspect penalties, meaning you have way more access to using that ability a little better than, say, in the Premier format where you have to be in a deck strategy that might be playing these. So it's kind of interesting. Though we do have a Hera leader that I think might be able to manipulate this. Then we have another legendary in Maul. We already have a Maul that kind of does the exact similar thing that we have from Shadows of the Galaxy. So we got a Maul with Command, Aggression, Ability, Overwhelm. He's a 6/8, plays for 7, which again, the other Maul does as well. Unfortunately, the other Maul had the ability to actually ambush with Overwhelm as well. So we lose an ambush. And when this unit attacks ends, if this unit dealt combat damage to a player's base, you may take control of an ally or unit that player controls. When this unit leaves play, that unit owner takes control of that unit. So I'm not sure if his ability procs multiple times, because it technically doesn't say minimum 1 or anything like that. It just says when the attack ends, if this unit dealt combat damage to a player's base, you may take control of a non-leader unit that player controls. When this unit leaves the play, that unit's owner takes control of that unit. So if I'm reading it as every time his attack ends, and as long as he's survived and he's punched the base for any damage, which again, attacks ended if it dealt any damage, which he has the overwhelm keyword on him, meaning that he can then swing into little guys and overwhelm damage, which then does trigger the proc the effect as well to get the card. So it'd be interesting because if this is the case, this means that he's very lethal if he can steal multiple cards every single time he ends an attack, meaning that you can steal all your opponent's stuff and just keep it for your side until your opponent actually kills them all, which I think is actually pretty interesting. It's also a great way because you can swing into your opponent's base, deal damage, take one of their units that are standing, and then be able to swing that unit into their base or steal something that they know for a fact could win them the game or is something you need to use to disturb their plays. It's kind of an interesting card. I feel it's a little weaker than the Maul we got out of Shadows of the Galaxy, but I don't mind at all. It's a pretty cool card overall. We got a Rio Durgent 425. I think this is the first Rio Durgent unit we actually have in the game. We have the leader Rio Durgent from Jump to Light Speed. That's the pilot leader. So it's very interesting to see that we now have a Rio Durgent unit. But anyways, 2-5, and then when played, you may return a non-leader unit, cost 3 or less to its owner's hand. Then its owner may play for free. It gains shielded for the phase. Basically, bounce one of your guys back, give it a shield. Basically, that's what he's just there for. Just when played, bounce one of your guys back. Maybe it's some guy that's damaged or something like that. Very important. Just bounce it back and then play it again for free and then give it a shield. That's basically about it for Rio Durgent. Never bounce back your opponent's stuff with this effect unless you really want to give your opponent a guy shielded. Which you can do as well if you need to bounce something your opponent has potential to attack or win or do something like that. You can bounce it back to them. But again, your opponent does get to play for free and shielded, so just be cautious on that one. I think it'd be a pretty cool thing to bounce back like your blockers or anything like that. Like this could bounce very good Sentinels back to your hand that are 3 costs and then play them again and give them a shield, giving them the ability to be protective again. So something to think about. We have our first leader of the game. Hera is back, everyone. Hera is back, and she's not as good as her Spark counterpart. While her Spark counterpart was more of ignore the aspect penalties on Spectres, this is ignore the aspect penalty on everybody that's heroic as long as you control 2 or more units. So basically then that tells us that like Zeb and Ezra and Chopper, and we do know the new Kanan units in the game as well. So all the heroic units that are multicolored, and we don't have the ability to play that all those multicolored cards because we don't have the base or the coloration because Hera's already green. So let's say we wanted to play Chopper, we'd have to play red, which means we can't play Ezra because Ezra, I think, is we'll check him out. I think he's Vigilance Cunning, which means we really can't play him. But still, really cool card because as long as we control 2 or more units, we know the aspect penalties on all heroic units we play. We flip her for 5. Again, she's not really great on her backside. Her backside in Spark was that she could give a experience token to any unique unit on the board. She has Restore 1, and again, she does have the ability to ignore while you control 2 or more units, ignore the aspect penalties of heroic units in play. So it's going to be very interesting how people really want to play this one out. Because as long as you control the 2 or more, you can ignore the aspect penalties of everything heroic, meaning that you could fill a deck with a lot of guys that are out of aspect to your base and your leader, and then be able to play them out because of Hera's ability. But you need to be able to control a board presence of more than 2 guys. Including herself, because she does technically, when she flips over to her leader, she is a unit on that side. So she's doing very similar to the Hera leader we have from Spark, but the Spark one is only about Spectres, while this one is about as long as you control 2 or more units, you could just store the aspect penalty on all heroic units. So an interesting card there for sure. Definitely something to check out. I think there's some things you can do with this. And there are some good heroic cards that we're seeing with like multicolored, like we are seeing with the Chopper, we are seeing with the Cassian Andor. And like I said, here we're going to go with the Ezra Bridger now. With Vigilance Command and Heroic, I thought he was Vigilance Cunning Heroic. He's got Raid 1 for 5 for 4, and then when play, you may heal 2 damage from a unit. If you control an Aggression or a Cunning unit, you may heal 4 damage from you instead. And again, because it just matters as long as you have that aspect. If you play, say, you have the Chopper out and then you have the Ezra out, then you can just use the Chopper's Aggression icon here, so then you can heal 4 damage from a unit instead. So we're kind of seeing like these first few, like the Ezra, like the Chopper for the Hera. We're kind of seeing how really, and the Zeb, really how we can play around with Hera, being able to play all these guys that have multicolored aspects in them, and then being able to utilize some of what we're seeing with the Spectre crew, where they have the ability to play themselves, do something, but if we have a unit with a specific coloration onto it, then we can do something even better. So it's kind of very interesting what we're getting with kind of what the Spectres are. I think the Spectres are going to be more fun in the Eternal format, because there's way easier ways to make sure that you don't have to worry about Hera 2 or more units. But right now, I think the Hera is not bad to abuse these Spectres, and it's really the only way, in my opinion, to really make them fun. We have the Phantom on 2/2/2. When played, if you have a heroic unit, you would play a heroic unit from your hand, paying its cost, giving experience token to it. So basically, When played, you can then play another unit paying its cost and then give an experience token to it, which isn't too bad. Just be mindful that if you play it on your 2-turn, that does burn its when played skill and you can't play anything else. So this is definitely something that you want to play and then play another body off of that one to give an experience token. For instance, you could go Phantom into Chopper and then Chopper effect to give himself an experience. You get an experience token from the Phantom, experience token from Chopper. But if you have a Cunning or a Vigilance unit out, and then you can get 2 experience tokens to him. So you could potentially go up to 3 experience tokens onto him from a Phantom, which is pretty cool. We have the Fulcrum. Of course, I believe this is Callus's, Agent Callus's mark after he starts trading the Empire. He goes by the name of Fulcrum. Attached to a non-vehicle unit, attached unit gains Rebel trait, and then each other friendly Rebel unit gets +2/+2. Again, a really cool card for the Eternal Leia from Spark, as well as good for Luthen as well, because Luthen will probably be playing a lot of Rebels, so you'll be able to go put that on something, give Rebel tag, even if it doesn't have the Rebel tag, give it the Rebel tag, and then be able to give all your other units +2/+2, which is pretty nice overall. Just being able to hit the base is pretty good. And then we have C-3PO on attack, giving experience token to another non-leader unit that shares a trait with a friendly leader. So again, it looks like you don't have to be deployed. So if you have Rebel, Twi'lek, Spectre, you could give it to Rebels and Spectres, because I don't think we have much in the way of Twi'leks right now. I don't even think we have any real Twi'leks post-rotation. Ryloth, I think the Ryloth Militia that's Array 2 is like the only Twi'lek I truly remember. Oh, I guess we got Cham Shadula. I guess we had Cham in the game still because he's from JTL. So I guess you have that for a Twi'lek, but still pretty cool. I like it. It's just a mono green, so every deck that's playing something mono green can utilize this skill to continually give experience tokens on attack to guys, as long as they share aspect with your friendly leader, which is pretty cool. I think that's a pretty neat thing. We got Chirrut and Baz. We did see them on the cover art for Lawless Time, so we knew we were going to get another Chirrut and another Baz. I thought we were going to get a leader Chirrut or a leader Baz, but we got them together. This is kind of a good pair together. So Chirrut is a 6/8/6, which is pretty good. In Vigilance, Command, Vigilance, Aggression, and Heroic with Saboteur, which is pretty nice, being able to dodge those Sentinels or being able to hit Sentinels or even going past shields. And then when attack ends, if this unit dealt combat damage to the base, you may heal 4 damage from a new unit, which is pretty nice. And then we have Baz, which again is in that Vigilance, Cunning, Vigilance, Aggression, Heroic with 6/8, Sentinel, and then with 1 or more damages healed from this unit, you may deal that much damage to a unit. So kind of a very interesting combination here where you're going to use Chirrut to smash into the base, healing up Baz, and then you're going to use Baz's effect to deal that damage that you healed onto your opponent. So that's a pretty cool little gimmick we're getting from these two. Then we have Rey. Rey is back again as a legendary, a 8/9/9 that basically states on it this: your opponent can't take it, and you can't be defeated by enemy card abilities. All right, pretty nice. I mean, a 9/9 and 8. We're gonna have to see if it's really gonna be a good legendary, because it's gonna matter how the meta defines speed. Because I do think like decks like Kazuto from JTL could really be fast-paced, quick, beat you down before you get to 8. And again, we really don't have ramp in green right now because we are losing resupply. Even Villainy for ramp is losing Super Laser Tech. And the only thing we're going to have is resupply carrier. And green is going to feel the worst to try to ramp up. Sure, we have 𝐒𝐓𝐀 from LOF, but that's not really great. There's just great things to ramp that what we have right now in the meta. So losing like resupply, Super Laser Tech, and really only keeping, say, 𝐒𝐓𝐀 and resupply carrier doesn't really feel good to play the Rey. Though I do like the effect. It's a pretty cool effect because if your opponent has any way to nuke this off, it just doesn't die. It's also the end of the Rise of Skywalker movie with her new lightsaber. So if you want to know the art of that, but nonetheless, cool card. I'm not sure how good it's going to be because it's just so reliant on you ramping fast enough to get that out. And then we're going to be putting a team together. Search drop a card your deck for a Vigilance, Aggression, or Command card, Cunning card reveal in a draw. Basically, as long as you're playing a deck, another card to kind of play in Hera, because then we can search out multicolored cards, which is pretty neat. Just a searcher card if you need to search out something you want to search. Nothing bad, especially I like that we can search so many different colors with it as well. Again, kind of pushing that aspect that we're playing in a multicolored meta, that we'll be pushing ourselves into a multicolored meta. And we have Ben Solo, another legendary, 989. This is when he moves from Kylo Ren to Ben Solo and suddenly can pull lightsabers out of the middle of Fantasyland. We can now magically make lightsabers disappear and reappear in a magic land. Never will understand that scene. It does come in hidden, and when played when defeated, ready another friendly unit, it can attack this phase. So basically, comes in hidden again. 9, not really great. I don't know how many games are going to get to 9. Again, even right now in this meta, unless you're in a ramp strategy, you're not getting to 9 very often. If you're getting to 9 and you're in the late game, either you're very close to dying or your opponent's very close to dying. And you really don't want to spend all 9 of your resources on a guy that's hidden when you can spend it on other things that might just keep you alive for one more turn. So just be cautious on that. I'm not sure. I mean, it's win played, win defeated. At least it has a really okay win played skill. Ready another friendly unit can attack. It can't be attacked this phase, which is pretty nice. So it means that you could ready something can't be attacked. So technically it has hidden as ready, and you can swing that into your opponent's base to win the game. So you could do that as well. But again, 9 is a steep cost to ask for an okay effect. Yeah. All right, moving on. We have the Staccato Lightning Repeater, Baz's personal weapon, attached to a non-lethal unit. When played, deal 1 damage up to 3 different ground units. You get a 3+1 upgrade on that. Not bad. A good way to do some ping damage. Never hurt anybody. Agent 𝐂𝐬𝐿 is our second leader we've officially gotten. He's a rare. Hera was a common. It's very interesting that we're already seeing 2 from the Rebel series leaders. Action, you can pay 1 to play a card from your hand, ignore its aspect penalties, which includes the fact that we can ignore heroic aspect penalties as well. When he flips over, you may pay 1, you may play a card from your hand, ignore its aspect penalties, and when you play a heroic card, heal 2 damage from your base. I like this leader. This leader is going to be kind of fun to play around with, because the aspect is that you just need to pay 1, you ignore the aspect penalties on the next card you play. So you play a card from your hand. I suppose you're gonna have to pay the resources. They don't say it in there, but most of the time I've never seen. By the way, pay 1, bring a big dude out for free. That's probably not what's gonna happen. You will definitely have to pay the you'll have to pay the normal cost of it. So if you pay 1, pay 3. If you want to bring a 3 drop, you have to then pay 4. By the way, I was right. The release date is March 6th for, of course, A Lawless Time. And I like the backside. I mean, it really shows Agent 𝐂𝐿𝐿 is like, this front side is, the Imperial, but on the backside, then you'll be able to play heroic cards. Ignore the aspect penalty of everything. It's going to make deck building very interesting for Agent 𝐂𝐿𝐿, because you ignore the aspect penalty for any card you play out of your hand. So you could play heroic cards, everything green, everything like that. So he's going to make deck building very, very interesting. He also gives a reason to play the Spectres in his strategy as well, because then you can just ignore the aspect penalty on playing all the Spectres by just paying 1. And again, being able to flip over and healing 2 off the base is really nice there too. Just play this, heal 2, just be able to hold out the game is pretty cool. So pretty neat card. Not gonna lie, pretty neat card. I like Agent 𝐂𝐿𝐿. I definitely think I'm gonna try him out. We have a new rare base. By the way, rare bases are no longer taking the rare slot in the game. So when you open up your pack, typically you at the back is going to be your rare, and then usually rare, and then sometimes you get stuck with that rare base, and sometimes when you're drafting, that does really suck when you draft the rare base. So you have the Alliance Outpost. So epic action, defeat a friendly token, give an experience token or shield token, token to a unit, or create a credit token. So one-time use to kill one of your own tokens so that you could then just create either give someone a shield experience or create a credit. For 26 health base, that's probably not going to be played a lot. Still, I'm glad at least one thing's for sure. The rare bases will no longer be taking the rare slot, which I will take every day of the week, that those are not taking the rare slot. Moving on, we got another legendary in Chewbacca. Like I said, we are getting cards from the 6th movie, Return of the Jedi, and I'm happy about that. Return of the Jedi is a very good movie overall. But it's really cool that we're going to get cards now from Return of the Jedi, more cards in the art of Return of the Jedi, because we automatically knew, like, the 2 starter decks are based on the Return of the Jedi, Leia in her bounty hunter uniform, and then Jabba the Hutt. So it's really cool to see that we're getting some more cards with art from Return of the Jedi. So Chewbacca is a 4-cost 4/4 with Overwhelm and attack ends. I like when attack ends. I like this new, like, when attack ends. That's really cool. Like I like that. It's like when attack ends, if then if it happens, do this. So it's very interesting. So I like that when attack ends. I like that little wording they're now doing. So when attack ends, if the defending unit was defeated, give an experience token to this unit and heal 3 damage for them. That's a really cool effect. I like that. I like that that Chewbacca can get out of hand. So now a defending unit was defeated, meaning that he has to attack attack units, survive, and then he can just get out of hand. And then eventually, once he's so far into hand, that you can just swing him in and knock your opponent's base in for a ton of damage. So that's pretty cool. So I mean, for a 4/4/4, that by the time attack stands next turn, being able to swing, kill something with 3 health points on it, and then being able to gain 3 and give an experience token to it, going up to a 5/5, and then healing 3 damage off it, that's pretty nice. And then the overwhelm is really good here too. So I like this guy. I like Chewbacca. Yep, the walking carpets over here beating people up for us. So pretty cool, pretty cool. So you could just like send it into your opponent's sentinels as long as they're not going to kill Chewbacca, and heal that 3 damage off of it every single time, and then constantly give them experience tokens. But yeah, no, the Chewbacca could probably get a little out of hand, so that'd be pretty fun. By the way, if you put him in Agent 𝐂𝐬𝐿, this is actually another thing I realized. We have emergency powers in the game right now. So that's a good, hilarious thing, because Agent 𝐂𝐬𝐿 has already still got the villainy tag attached to him. You can then use, say you play out this Chewbacca using Agent 𝐂𝐬𝐿's effect to ignore the aspect penalty, play the Chewbacca, and then go emergency powers next turn Chewbacca stand, then give Chewbacca a bunch of experience tokens. You could actually make him even more gross, because then you could punch over a bunch of your opponent's units and then heal 3 every time, and then continue to pump up experience tokens so your opponent has it out for it. Which again, I don't know how many outs we're actually going to have for like bodies. Like, no Rivals Fall is gone. I know we're losing Takedown and Fell the Dragon. So it's going to be kind of interesting. I can't remember if JTL mostly gave us stuff to knock out ships. LOF gave us some things to kill things, but you need to use the Force to do it. And I can't remember if Secret Power gave us any like major kill cards. But nonetheless, a pretty cool card nonetheless. This is a nice card. We have a Lepe Lookout for 2/3/1 shielded with Overwhelm. Pretty cool, like that. A nice little Underworld card there as well, but still pretty cool. I mean, it's got Overwhelm for a 3/1 on a 2-drop. That's pretty good. And shielded. We got legendary Luke Skywalker, Prophet or to be destroyed. Jabba, I've come to bargain. So anyways, I like that. That's a really cool art of Luke there. This is definitely going to be a prestige art. They're definitely going to do something interesting with that. Anyways, Luke Skywalker is a 7/9/7. When played, your opponent chooses 1. They create a credit token, and then you just get to restand this unit. So basically, you get a 9/7 standing. Or you may deal 5 damage to a unit. So your opponent does get to choose 1, because again, Luke's coming in to bargain with your opponent. So most of the time, it's going to be interesting. They're probably going to choose you may deal 5 damage to a unit. That means they can do 5 damage to the Luke. There are interesting things, but there are ways to get around this. 𝐂𝐍𝐍𝐄𝐂 won't trigger, because the 𝐒𝐍𝐶 effect on the when played skill won't trigger. So it's going to be very interesting, because I know a lot of people are going to do the you may deal 5 damage and do the 5 damage to Luke Skywalker, so then it already lives on 2 health points. But in my opinion, if they're going to burn 5 to hit the Luke for 5, burn the bottom 1 to hit the Luke for 5, is very interesting. We'll have to kind of see, because I thought we could do 𝐒𝐍𝐶 to block it, but 𝐒𝐍𝐶 has to block the skill already on the board state. So you can't block this win played skill. But I'm trying to think. I don't know if we have anything in the game right now that can block a win played skill. We'll have to kind of see if there's some card that comes out later that helps like ignore this win played skill, so that you don't give your opponent the option to make this choice. So it'll be very interesting to see if we get something out of this. But still, very cool card. I like it. Again, most of the time, your opponent's going to choose to deal the 5 damage, and if they decide to do it on the Luke instead of one of your others, that's fine by me. If my opponent wants to punch this out of existence, it's going to sacrifice most things in the game to it. So I'm not going to mind that. We got another Kanan Jarrus with Restore 1, and then when played, you may return non-leader unit that costs 2 or less, and including yours or your opponent's. If you control, again, a command or aggression card, you may return a non-leader unit that costs 4 or less instead. So again, we're kind of seeing the same thing we've seen with all the Spectres so far. They do a little effect, but if they have another guy with that aspect into it, they do a bigger effect. So that's really about it. A really cool another card for Spectres. Just more stuff for Spectres. Again, Spectres will be interesting because again, Hera. If you have the C-3PO, can then start pumping up all your Spectres with experience tokens on the attack, or you can go Agent Callus to then ignore their aspect penalties and play them out as well. So it's going to be very interesting. We got a Lawbringer, another legendary. When 8/7/7, when played on attack, choose an aspect penalty. Each unit with that aspect penalty gets -2 for this phase, which is pretty good. I mean, we know for a lot of units that are now coming in multi-aspected, this can hit a lot of things because of the fact that we have so many multi-aspected cards now in the game, and we're now seeing 2 leaders that are being able to ignore aspect penalties as well. But is it going to be good? A legendary ship, I mean, the only real person who's going to drop this is going to be Piet, because Piet needs more capital classes because it's getting annexed. A lot of its really good capitals are going out the door. But again, the -2 to something isn't always going to be great. Sure, it's a great when played on attack skill, which would have been really nice to have. Like if we still had the 2-drop card from Shadows of the Galaxy, the intervention card, where then you could smuggle it out, and then you can. Oh, Voss can I totally forgot. Voss can play this guy as well. Holy crap, I forgot about that. Voss can play this guy as well. So yeah, so Voss or bringing it out with the ability to ambush so that it gets when played on attack skill together would be pretty good. But the only 2 leaders I think that are going to be able to do that is Voss once he's flipped, and Piet's the only leader that's going to be able to play it cheaply. Once Piet flips, at least you can play it for the 6 and give -2 and have a 7/7 in the sky. But that's really about all I'm seeing for this. Any other deck, I mean, 8 again, once you hit 8 for most decks, you're in the late game stages. And for a lot of decks, that is either you won or you lost, or somehow you've just made it there long enough. So yeah, I mean, it's always going to be that interesting thing because, I mean, the Avenger's always going to be the best Star Destroyer, in my opinion, alongside the Devastator. And the Avenger's always going to have the best effect for a 9-costed Star Destroyer with that when played on attack to just murk your opponent has to murk guys that aren't their leader, which is pretty nice. But nonetheless, I don't think it's too bad. Giving a -2 to stuff isn't too bad, and then being able to then punch over that stuff or kill it potentially if it's already got damage on it, it's pretty nice. As well as you can get it out on an ambush trigger, then that's really nice because then you get both the on play and the attack. Right now, Voss is going to be the only way to do that. Voss has to be flipped over onto his backside. So yeah, and then you'll need your opponent to have something in space so that Voss could then allow it to trigger so that it can go in for the ambush, which is pretty nice. But still, it's a pretty cool card. I don't know how well it's going to get on the secondary market for a legendary, but we're not always going to get good legendaries, Mr. Chewbacca. Anyways, we have Effects Fire Spray, a 6/4/6 with ambush, and then when attack ends, the defending unit was defeated, create a credit token. About what we expected. It's really good there, ambush, and then you can get a credit token if it killed something. Just another card to help with Boba, if you ever want to. Just another card to go like in the Boba JTL leader. Just an okay card. Nothing Left to Fear for 5. Choose a friendly. And by the way, again, play a card for your hand ignoring aspect penalties, meaning that Callus can play this as well for 1. You'd have to pay 6 for it, but still, it's really nice that you could then do that so that you can ignore the aspect penalty, as well as Hera does it as well. If you control 2 or more, you ignore the aspect penalties on heroic cards you play. So Hera can't dodge this, but you could use Callus to dodge the aspect penalty. And I like the art. It's Callus versus the Grand Inquisitor. I will say one thing. Fantasy Flight knows how to do their art well. They got some good artists doing their art. Choose a friendly unit and give it +2 for this phase. Then you may defeat a non-leader unit with power equal or less than the chosen unit. So basically, you like OB. Here's OB at home if it was bad OB. Where OB can basically give a guy a power and then spread that damage throughout the board state so you can just nuke half of your opponent's board away. This is give power and then nuke one thing. It's craving power without the ability tag attached to it, basically. But still, it's an okay card. I mean, it's a great way to spot check things off the board and then get that +2/+2 is not also bad either. I mean, being able to then get a +2/+2 on something and then attack with it is pretty nice. I could see this going like on a big Chewbacca, doing something like this, or being put in Agent Callus after you trigger like a turn of emergency powers and then going Nothing Left to Fear, giving out extra +2/+2 and then swinging in for a big ton of damage from that as well. Could be very interesting, or using that big guy to kill something. So a pretty interesting card nonetheless to check out, but it's an okay one. The effect's actually pretty nice as well. It's not too bad to do like quick spot checks on your opponent's board state. We got another 4 Lam. Again, we are losing 𝐒𝐬𝐃𝐘 from Shadows of the Galaxy, but again, if you're an Eternal player, someone who's going to try Eternal, you have another 4 Lam to go alongside your 𝐒𝐬𝐃𝐘. As well as we have actually 2 𝐒𝐬𝐃𝐘s, now 3 4 Lams. Because we have the 𝐒𝐬𝐃𝐘, double yellow 𝐒𝐬𝐃𝐘s from LOF. Anyways, 5 for 5. When played, you may attack with a friendly bounty hunter unit. Even if exhausted, it can attack bases for the attack. So it's just a way we've seen before of cards that are able to have guys attack exhausted into your opponent's unit so that you can just kill them off, which is pretty nice. So like Underworld, it has to be bounty hunter, so you'd have to only swing with bounty hunters. How many bounty hunters actually have we even seen? I don't think we've even seen much besides, say, the thing like bounty hunter wise, I think only one we've seen is the Boba Fett. That's like the only bounty hunter we've actually seen. So I'm not sure how good this is going to be in the current meta, because I'm trying to think whatever. I don't remember many other bounty hunters we actually have out of this set. I know 𝐒𝐬𝐃𝐘 is out of this set, out of LOF, but I don't know. Definitely would be very interesting in Eternal. The problem is Cad Bane is the best leader for Underworld, and he plays a lot of bounty hunters in Underworld. He doesn't really play in green though, so just be cautious on that one. And then we have Bib Fortuna, but otherwise it's a pretty good card. If we get some good bounty hunters from this set, or we had good bounty hunters from the previous sets, I guess we do. I guess Dengar, the pilot Dengar, is a bounty. Oh no, he's not a bounty hunter because I don't think he gives the keywords to the ship he's on. So I don't know. We'll have to kind of see if this is actually even any good in the current meta, or if it's going to be more viable in the Eternal format. I do feel like there's probably going to be cards in this set that are printed more for Eternal than they are going to be for Premier, to try to make sure that Fantasy Flight can push the Eternal format as well as the Premier format. So yeah, it's going to be kind of interesting to see how they actually build out their sets now that they're doing Eternal. Are we going to get cards in these sets that are more tuned to the Eternal decks, leaders and stuff like that, rather than, say, the modern like Premier leaders? So it's going to be kind of interesting. Then we have Bib Fortuna. When played, control Underworld unit, create a credit token. We've seen plenty of Underworld units. It's not probably too hard to get this out. Not too bad. Again, credit tokens are really good. I expect them to I expect a lot of decks to try to farm credit tokens so that you can reduce the play cost of your units. So it's pretty interesting. And then we have the Vermilion, the last reveal card for 6/5/7. When attack ends, if this unit survived, reveal a top card of your deck. Then choose a player. That player may reveal they may play the reveal card for free. If they do, a different player creates credit tokens equal to the number of cards to that card's cost. So this is a Twin Suns card. We see a lot of cards where they really feel more for Twin Suns than they're going to see play in Premier or even the Eternal format. So this is definitely a Twin Suns card where you can play and then you can kind of talk amongst the table. Like, you're going to reveal, then I'm going to give it to my opponent over here, then you get to play credit tokens. So it's going to be kind of that thing what Twin Suns is about, where you talk with the table, kind of like Commander. I don't know if you'll ever really see play in Premier. I mean, it might for a 6/5/7, dealing 5 damage in space isn't bad. But again, it's not really something you want to then immediately give your opponent the ability to play a unit for free off from your deck. Because then I'm not sure if in Premier, if they're going to be able to QA this to say that you're the different player in that case. So this might just exclusively be a Twin Suns card, unless they QA to where you can be the different player to create the credit tokens. So that's just something to keep your mind on. Or you could just use it to throw out your opponent's bodies and throw it at like some ship or something to deal 5 damage, which is something to think about. Or of course, we do have Punch It, which is you can tackle the vehicle unit and give it +2. So overall, I know we got a little bit of drip feed, and typically I only start doing these reveals like right before, the set drops in the format. But we got some good reveals, and I just wanted to show you all because we've got some really good legendaries coming out of this set, like the Luke, like our Chewbacca, the Ben and the Rey. I don't know. And then, of course, we got the Maul, which I think is okay, not best. And then, of course, like I said, we got some good cards, some cards that are going to tell us kind of where the strategies are going to go, like the Cassian for Luthen. Right now, we can see Fulcrum for Luthen and stuff like that. I like the Baz and the Church combination we're kind of seeing, all that. And it's cool. Like, we got 2 leaders so far that are really cool, besides, of course, the 2 leaders we've already known, the Leia and Chewbacca, or Leia and Jabba. But yeah, I mean, we got some very cool things. These 2 leaders already give me some very interesting thoughts about how we're going to really build in this set, with Hera being able to ignore aspect penalties on everything heroic as long as you control 2 or more units. and then Agent Callus being always able to ignore aspect penalties by just paying a 1, and then being able, when he's flipped over, and you can play all your heroic stuff out without paying aspect penalties, and then healing 2 damage for base, allowing you to live longevity wise. So yeah, and it's going to be interesting exactly how everything we want to go. I do think Agent Callus is going to be that most fun. Right now I'm going to feel to play, because not only do I get to play all my villainy stuff in blue, I also then get to play a whole bunch of stuff outside of villainy blue, because I can then just ignore his aspect penalty because of Callus. So again, the heal 2 is only on his backside, but the front side and the backside both have the ability to ignore the aspect penalty. So nonetheless, the set right now looks okay. There's still a lot of stuff I'm questioning, like where we're going to see effects. Are we going to see like some effect that maybe allows us to remove the Luke Skywalker ability so that we'd ignore the wind plate skill? We're going to see what other leaders are we going to see out of this? I mean, I don't know. Like, we can see another Boba leader, I would guess. I don't know. Like, where we can see maybe a Luke leader. It would be cool to get another Luke Skywalker leader. A Return of the Jedi Luke Skywalker leader would actually be really cool. I mean, I don't know. Like, I wasn't expecting our first 2 leader reveals to us being more Spectre leaders, and I get it. They're very cool. People really like the Rebels show, and the Ahsoka show gave us more of these Spectres. Well, at least the ones that survived. Like Kanan, unfortunately, did not survive. But I mean, we've seen more of that. So I don't know. I don't know what other leaders we're really going to get in this set, because A Lawless Time can really be anything. We could see leaders like another Cad Bane leader. We could see a Maul leader. So there's so much to really do. I was not expecting our first 2 major leaders to be Spectre leaders, or leaders from the Rebel series that are really good at ignoring aspect penalties, which I feel we're going to see more of those. In my opinion, I want to see more of these leaders that are capable of ignoring aspect penalties by doing something. Hera having 2 more units ignore aspect penalties on heroic. Agent Callus pay 1 ignore aspect penalties altogether on everything in your hand. So yeah, I like that. I like that we're seeing this, because we are playing now a multicolored set. With a multicolored set, being able to ignore aspect penalties gives us way more building ability around deck strategies as well. But yeah, I mean, let's hope we're done giving cards to this series as well. I don't mind if we do some more cards from, say, The Force Awakens, stuff like that. But can we? Why do I have to get these guys? I don't like these guys. I mean, Rey's not too bad. I'm just saying I don't like, them from the Star Wars aspect. I didn't like the Disney sequels, especially the last one. That was rushed, and J.J. Abrams doing his best to fix everything. But again, I thought we were going to get a Chirrut or a Baz. If we still have a chance to get a Chirrut or a Baz leader, I would like to see a Baz leader. We have a Chirrut leader already in the game. I'd like to see a Baz leader. But yeah, nonetheless, we got some interesting stuff so far revealed to us. Again, we'll probably get some more drip feed here throughout January, but we'll probably get the major drip feed in February as we approach March 6th. So be on the lookout for more videos where we're going to discuss more drip fed cards to us. But again, we got a good amount of drip fed feed here, so I did want to just come tell you all early exactly what we got and my thoughts overall on the cards, kind of where I think we're going to see some of the meta. But I don't know. I really want to see more of the cards. I really want to see what else we can get in a set. I would like to see more leaders, and maybe drip feed us a couple more leaders there, Fantasy Flight. I really would like to see what other leaders we're going to get in the set, because again, A Lawless Time doesn't really give you like a big idea of leaders we're going to get in the game. Like, I wasn't expecting 2 leaders from the Rebel series to come in. And again, I knew we were getting Rebel units because we got Zeb, and I already saw Chopper. I expected Ezra because I think I saw his art in a promo explanation, all that. But nonetheless, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Well, guys, let me know your thoughts down in the comments on the drip fed cards we've gotten so far. What are you excited for? What are you hoping for? What are you excited right now out of it? We got a good amount of legendaries so far out of this set. Some are better than others. Let me know which ones you're excited to pick up, which ones you really want to pick up on the legendary. And let me know your thoughts on our 2 newest leaders, Hera and Agent Callus. Let me know your thoughts on them. And again, let me know what you hope we get. Also, let me know if you think we're going to get legendary legacy cards. We were told we weren't going to get, every set wasn't going to have legacy support or cards that come in the Legends timeline of Star Wars. But I wonder if they're going to finish it out. We've got KOTOR 1, 2. KOTOR 3 is next up on the line to finish out. So let's see if they do KOTOR 3 in this set, or if they're going to hold KOTOR 3 for something else. Again, we're not going to get they said every set they aren't going to release legacy cards into the game for the Legends timeline of Star Wars, but still, there's a lot of Legend stuff out there, a lot of Legend stuff, so they could do a lot of interesting things with Legends. But nonetheless, with that said, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you get notified when my videos go live for you, and we'll see you next time on Mama Dragons TCG.